Female founders and leaders are changing the landscape of business every single day. Our guest is a social entrepreneur and brand strategist who believes you don't have to be a B Corp to make a difference with your business. She's helping women by providing opportunities to explore a purpose bigger than themselves, connections outside of themselves, and impact beyond themselves. Oh, yeah, we're going to have a delicious conversation. Stay tuned for the Startup Life live show. Let's glow, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Startup Life live show. I'm your host, Ande, Lyons, 4 times founder and startup champion to founders around the world. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, I don't need to use my imagination to know exactly what you all are going through every single day. And may I just say how in awe and wonder I am of you for getting up every day, having this vision, solving all the gnarly problems that come along with implementing and executing that vision and bringing your gloriousness and your wonderful, beautiful business to the world. And I'm super grateful that you carved out time to tune in to the Startup Life live show. You're up in your game today. You're going to hear some incredible ideas and solutions and strategies and inspiration and insights that will help improve your founder game. And you know, as you do better, that's right, your startup will do better. If you're watching this, hi, live viewers. Yay. I'm so happy you're here. Be sure to like the video. Same with you wonderful replay viewers on the video. Like and share it with your community. That way we can reach more founders and my podcast listeners. Oh, I'm blowing you kisses filled with appreciation as well. Share, share, share. And folks, if you're on YouTube right now and watching this, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and like that video. And if you want a deeper dive into the guests, I go live twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. EST. And when you join the Startup Life Live meetup group, you're going to get the deep dive into what's going on, who the guest is, and the value that they will be able to add to your startup journey. I'm so happy you're all here. Let me just do a few Andelicious announcements for everybody, what we've got going on in the world. Of course, I'm always going to send you over to Arlen Hamilton. That's right, Arlen's Academy. She's always offering phenomenal advice and insights that you need for your business. She's also got some really cool things happening right now. If you want to work one-on-one with her or in a group, I mean, seriously, she's always adding value to founders' lives every day. And if you haven't read her book, It's About Time. You see it over there behind me on the shelf. Be sure to grab that. It will up your founder game and have you feeling delicious at the same time. For those of you who are in the healthy homes world, okay, Carrier is having an opportunity for startup companies and founders. You can submit your ideas and solutions for an opportunity to shape the future of healthy homes. They're having a great, pitch event and an opportunity for you to win money cash. We love when that happens. Speaking of cash, for those of you who are fundraising, please hop on over to Scroobius. It's human first fundraising, and they, for founders, help create a pitch that will finally get you the funding you need. And yeah, it's all about democratizing the private equity world. Investors, find diverse founders and increase your pipeline. And founders, I'm telling you, this will fit into anybody's budget. Use my promo code Ande15 when you join the platform. It's the best peer support group you'll ever find and the best help for raising money. And I'm serious. It is super budget friendly. And let's not forget our wonderful Catherine Gray over here at She Angel Investors, 6 ways to fund your business, funding made simple for female founders. So she's always sharing the gems where she is. And now here's time. Let's just do a quick founder hug, everybody, because, we need to remember to ask for help. We need to be able to talk about our switcheroos. We need to ask, hey, do you know this person? Can you open this door for me? Can you help me this way? Be sure to reach out to me, to the guests on the Startup Life Live show, the folks in the comment section, wherever, because we're all here to serve you. So I'm I can't wait to introduce you to our guest. So I'm going to pull up one of these. She gave me so many incredible images to share with you on everything she's doing. I'll pop this up while I tell you all about our phenomenal guest, Erika Brechtel. She's a social entrepreneur, brand strategist, and the founder of Élanoura, an organization that brings together and supports women by providing opportunities to explore a purpose bigger than themselves, connections outside of themselves, and impact beyond themselves. Her upcoming book, Make Your Mark, Make It Matter, provides women founders with the tools to elevate, integrate, and create the change they want to see in the world and build their own legacy and impact. Come on, what's not to love about that? Let's bring Erika into the room. Erika Brechtel, thank you. Woo!
Hello.
Gotta get the clappers out.
Hi. Good morning. Over here, good morning.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Where are you sitting right now? Where are you hailing from?
Los Angeles, specifically Pacific Palisades, which for those of you who know is between Santa Monica and Malibu. So I'm very fortunate to be right next to the ocean, right across the street.
I know. And the Lyons Den lived there for a couple of years, so I know exactly how delicious every day is. Hey, Ruth from Nairobi, our wonderful community manager here. She's the one who will be saying hello to all of you, no matter what platform you show up on. And hey, so happy to see Vivian here. Yay.
Hi, Vivian. How fun.
And Rebecca, okay, Rebecca Moore, you know the drill. Pop in your URL and one-liner for your incredible work in the world. She has a phenomenal monthly event. I mean, this is a woman who helps female founders, specifically, I think she calls them mid-century modern founders, but also she has a great founders test kitchen every month. So female founders can get together and talk about what's going on. So yes, this is going to be a great conversation, Rebecca. But, Erika, let me just take a second to remind everybody here, the Startup Live show gets thousands of replays, folks. Is ranked number 10 in the world for best podcast for startups. So when you swing by and share your wonderful business, your brand name, your one-liner and website, this will go out to everybody. And plus, Erika and I can send you lots of good love and great energy. Yay! And don't hesitate to pop questions or comments in the stream because we've got Erika here. All right. She is amazing. And you're going to want to pick her beautiful brain. And those of you watching the replay of the podcast, you can do that too. Okay. No worries. So, Erika, and then we have Brent and one last visitor, Brent from Canada. He's our diversity guy, always making sure that we remember diversity is innovation and disability is innovation. So you might have neurodiverse, invisible diversity or disabled, or you might have physical disabled. All of these folks add value, and be sure to consider them when you are hiring and engaging with folks. All right, Erika. 20 years working with women-led brands one-on-one, helping people with their brand strategies. What called you? I mean, you've got your degree is, I think, at MFA or in fine arts, right? Talk a little bit about what compelled you first to go into this area in the brand strategy, and then what led you to form your own business.
Yes. Well, I was actually a designer. And so through kind of all of this art background that I have, I started in interior design, and then the web bubble happened many, many moons ago, and I got into that. But it was really when I started to create logos and websites and brands for women, I found that it went so much further beyond just the look of what we were creating. We had to go deeper into not only what the look and feel was going to be, but what was the actual purpose behind it? What was their intention? Who are they doing it for? How are they unique? And so I ended up having to create a whole process around how do we ask the right questions of these women to get that information out of them. Right. So not only they feel excited and emotionally connected to their brand, but they're putting a brand out there that is emotionally connecting with the right audience.
That's right. And that is so important, folks. It's one thing to hire someone to throw a logo together for you and hop on Squarespace or Wix or WordPress to build a site out. But what is your brand promise? And that's the emotional connection that you want to have with folks. Right, Erika?
Absolutely. Because if you're not emotionally connected to your brand, how can you expect anybody else to be? So you need to do the work and you need to figure that out, what I call the 4 Ps. And we talked about this briefly, Andy. It is your people. Who are you actually doing it for? Your purpose. Why does it matter? What is the end goal? What is the impact that you want to have at the end of the day? Your positioning. So how are you unique in what you're doing and what you're offering versus your peers? And lastly, your personality. So I have a whole workshop that I offer. I've developed a 12 archetype brand type personality framework for those of you out there who want to figure out what your brand personalities are. And we usually have like 3 or 4. We've got a primary one. And that just helps you see and sort of accept those parts of you, of your personality that make you unique and help you shine even brighter, instead of thinking that you have to be a certain way to satisfy what you think others want of you or to sort of fit in. But it just gets kind of boring if you do that.
Yeah, Erika, I am so glad you did this because we went through a period with online marketing where everybody says, "Oh, I've got a blueprint for you," and I'm like, "No, you can't have a blueprint, not because then you're just duplicating and just throwing someone else's stuff in there. You have to do the work, right? You have to think about how you are uniquely qualified to be bringing this to the folks." It's the Seth Godin quote, which is, "Sure, it's been done before, but not by you and not by us, for us."
Yeah, and it's not only just how you're unique, but I would say for those of you who are starting business or even thinking about what you're doing in your workplace, for example, for professionals and executives, it's the mind, heart, and soul of what you're doing. So the mind is really, what are the rational reasons that someone would choose you or follow you or want to support you or connect with you, right? So that's like the credibility, the trust that we want to build in when we're creating our brands. And the second part is the heart of your brand. So what is that emotional connection? So can we get a little bit deeper into thinking about the emotional needs that your value is going to be providing for your audience? So the mind, the heart, and then lastly, we have the soul of your brand, really. And that's kind of the essence of what you're all about. So really thinking about, can I come up with a word, just one word, that I want to own in the hearts and minds of my audience? So if you could figure out the mind, the heart, and soul of your brand in terms of your positioning, that's really going to help you as you put yourself out there and you continue to do whatever you're doing and adding the value, making sure that you're aligned with that continuously.
Right. And folks, when you do this work, it makes it much easier to reach your ideal customer, because then you go and you find out what they need, and now that pathway to them becomes easier, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And, I work with women who have had their businesses for 20 plus years, who maybe have kind of lost that love and feeling for their businesses. And then I am a UCLA mentor. So I select a mentee every year. So I'm working with young women.
Right.
So various ages of women, and we're all looking for that alignment, that fulfillment through what we're doing. And we don't want to be told anymore what we're supposed to be doing and just simply checking things off a list. We want to find that deeper purpose and that deeper meaning. And it makes it so much easier because you're going into every day re-energizing yourself, and doing what you love. Well, I mean, what's better than that?
There is nothing better than that, especially when you're tapped in and turned on to what it is that you're bringing to folks, and the folks that you're trying to reach are resonating with how you do it. And it takes time, folks. It always takes time, and it takes time doing the work. But when you can do this process like Erika has for you, it's so helpful. And Erika, I saw this wonderful quote in an article written about you, or where you were interviewed, and it was about you. And I just want to read it to everyone because I think it is outstanding. And this quote says, "I believe women just need a little clarity around their value and the confidence to push it out in the world. It's for these reasons that I have seen my role as a facilitator. I'm simply bringing out of these women what's already there, what's always been there. And when we can bring it to the light, it gives them life."
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I love, 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 love working with women.
Yeah.
I mean, I have found, I'm sure you know this, that 99% of the women out there are coming into whatever they're doing with good intention. Like they want to figure out how they can be of service, how they can add value. I think it just comes naturally to us in terms of our nurturing capabilities. And so when you're starting from there, that we're already coming into it with good intentions. I mean, that's the first step. But then what I found in working 20 years with women is that we hold ourselves back, because we feel like we don't have all the information. I have found through doing my branding masterclass tour, when I went around to different cities around the country and got a group of women together, and through all of my one-on-one work, is that we hold ourselves back until we feel like we have like 85% of the knowledge, right? That we think that we need to have in order to feel confident enough to put ourselves out there. Whereas men, of course, I've met many male founders. They're out there with like 10% of the knowledge and just doing it. And so we are sitting there and we're holding ourselves back just by feeling like we don't have the information.
That's right.
We need to have.
Yeah. You're singing my song 100% on a couple of levels. Folks, that you may recall, I went to an all women's MBA program, and we were taught that women tend to look around the room and say, who's doing it the best? I have to do it better than them. And the guys will tend to look around the room and say, who's doing it the worst? I have to do it better than them. So that holding yourself back. And we see this when women go to raise money, Erika, and get the funds that they need to scale their business. They feel like they're holding their hat out, right? Instead of saying, oh, there's an equal value of exchange here. I'm willing to give up a percentage of my business for your fund. So you're going to make out, investor, with me. And track record shows that women have great track records, but for revenue and scaling and everything. But women still are like, do you mind? So,
yeah. And I think what's really important is when you kind of step back and you do that foundational work and you really figure out who you're doing this for and why, it's so much bigger than you. So all of a sudden, like you putting yourself out there, me being here, is not about me or my ego. It's about the value that I want to bring to others and what I hope to do in bigger picture wise. So you can take yourself out of it. You can kind of get over yourself, is what I say. Get over yourself and remember who you're doing this for and why. And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, why wouldn't people want to get involved with this? They're lucky to get involved with this, and let's all get together and create something special.
That's right. You're really doing everybody a favor, folks. So I'm just going to have an Andelicious moment over this. That's such important advice, Erika, for women. Thank you. Thank you. It's so easy, folks, to take our businesses personally and looking at it as here is, out here, what you've created and how it has its own soul journey, and it's here to serve the world. And you're there to be the steward to make the people it needs to serve. Oh, I just love that. Something fair. Had you set out to be an entrepreneur in life, Erika? Was that something that you always thought about? Did you have entrepreneurs surrounding you in life, or are you pleasantly surprised that this is how it landed for you?
So actually, no, I wasn't intending to be at all. It was a complete accident. I was actually working as an in-house art director for an international corporation, and we got bought out by a Chinese company. And so they laid everybody off. And so suddenly I was about to get married at the time, moved to New York so that my husband at the time could go to Columbia. And so I moved to New York City thinking I was like Carrie Bradshaw. I'm going to go find a job.
I can hear the music.
Yeah, right. And, in my cute little outfits or whatever. And there was nothing that really spoke to me, nothing that I really wanted to do, because they were all very limited in their scope of what I was going to be able to do. And at the same time, I was getting clients of my own where I was getting to do a lot with them. And so I just sort of fell into it. And I've been so fortunate to keep it going all of these years. But I will say the reason I've been able to keep it going is you do have to, as I said, you do have to do the work. You do have to constantly see what's out there. If you know why you're doing what you're doing, who you're doing it for, then it's easy to see what they need, right?
That's
Because
right.
you're listening, you're paying attention, you're on social media, you're seeing the comments. I work one-on-one with them and I have weekly calls with clients. I can see what it is that we actually need and just create solutions out of that. Because I get a lot of people who have seen me from afar and say, you keep reinventing yourself. And I'm thinking, no, I'm not. I'm still doing the same thing. I'm just creating more solutions
That's
because
right.
I'm seeing what's needed. And Élanoura certainly is an example of that with the Global Founders Retreat. It's another solution on how I can get women going so that they can put their best foot forward, create the best version of their businesses and themselves.
It's so important. And I'm just going to bring this up from the wonderful Rebecca Moore, as she says, yes, I help mid-century modern women, i.e. female founders, 50 plus, to cultivate their purpose and make an impact through entrepreneurship. Folks, you can visit inanutshellceo.com. And you've got to check out her Female Founders Test Kitchen. It's live coaching and peer focus group at bit.ly/founders_test kitchen. And yes, she's also, folks, a mentor working with underserved entrepreneurs at the Capital Network, one of our favorite organizations here in Boston for their Female Founder Fellowship, and at Boston University. So I am celebrating you. Erica's celebrating you. Thank you, Rebecca, for serving the world. And I know someone's tuned in and heard all about that and will be checking you out. So Erika, this is a perfect segue now into you're being called to create an even more extraordinary experience to help women understand that they're here to bring even more of themselves to the world and create change and have impact and have a meaningful life. It's not just about being profitable and sustainable. It's how am I making the world a better place? And you've done this by launching that beautiful business. And am I saying it correctly, Élanoura?
Yes.
Excellent. And it's elevating women globally. Folks, I'll have all the links in the show notes, but it's for my podcast listeners. It's ELANOURA.com at Élanoura Global to find it on Instagram. Talk to us about this beautiful business and how did it come to you? Because it's pretty cool, folks, how sometimes we are compelled and called to launch
Yeah.
a business. So how did this evolve for you, Erika?
Well, as I said, I've been creating solutions. And it was actually when I was creating my online course, which is Brand Building Foundations, I was talking about at the end, this end goal perspective, this legacy, and really thinking about at the end of the day, at the end of your career, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to be remembered for? What is the impact that you want to have? If somebody were to Google you, what do you hope that they'll find? And I thought that about myself, and I was like, oh, there's so much more that I want to do. And so I really started thinking about that in terms of my bigger picture and my end goal. And so I created this company. I came up with Élanoura. It's a made up word. I do branding, so I came up with the brand name, and it's a combination of Elan, meaning sort of like that zest for life, and aura, which is sort of like golden light. And so together for me, it means the life of light. And it's an umbrella company for everything that I do. Again, all of the solutions that I'm trying to create. And I just came up with this idea. It was after 2 years of COVID, and everyone was feeling down, disconnected, just exhausted. And I'm, working with clients, as I said, one-on-one, and I'm having calls, and a lot of them moms too, are just tired. And so I just thought, what if I had done this experience in 2015 on my own? And I said, what if I take a group of women with me? We can get away from it all, get out of our daily grind and sort of those comfort zones that we get stuck in about carpools and activities and such, and give ourselves the time and the space to kind of dive deep. We can reconnect with ourselves, reconnect with our businesses, reconnect with what it is we really want to do every day and at the end of it all, and have this amazing cultural experience. In addition, I think what's really unique about these business retreats that I'm creating is that we volunteer. So with this experience in Morocco, we volunteer with an organization called Project SOAR. And I just felt it was so important for all of these women to go and just sit with these young Moroccan teenagers who are facing problems so much bigger than what we think our problems are here in our first world countries. They're facing child marriage. They're facing not being able to go to school because their family can't afford period products. I mean, these rights that we have that we take for granted. And it was absolutely transformative for the women who came, and I was thrilled. And one of the women said, I wanted to come to Morocco and I wanted to do this cool thing. And the volunteer was like, oh, that's cool. And we ended up, there were tears shed, lots of hugs. And they carry it with them now, still having returned. There's the wonderful group of women who came.
Yes.
Love them all. And I think some of them are on with us today too. So hi.
Yeah. And feel free to say hi in the comment thread so we can say hi back. I would love to go ahead and play the video. I'm going to tell the podcast listeners it's going to be mostly wonderful music, but may I go ahead and do that? It's about 58 seconds, folks, and it just is going to give you a really good feeling of the adventure these women went on, and then a really good idea of Erika's bigger picture. So I'll see you on the other side, everybody. 58 seconds. Here we go. So beautiful, right, Erika?
It warms my heart whenever I see that.
I get a little teary-eyed too.
I know. And it was a joy to put that together. I will say, for those of you out there who are thinking about doing this or creating a business, to document what you're doing, that was such a good decision on my part to bring a photographer and videographer along with us to get this type of footage that is, now we have forever. And I was able to create that video and send it to all the women too, and give them that little memory. In fact, what I wanted to say about that too is what surprised me with how successful that event ended up being was that all of these women created such strong bonds. And it shows me how much we really want that connection and how hard it is to find other like-hearted women these days, right? Especially for those of us who are solo founders who aren't in a work environment or office environment.
Well, building a big team, to scale, products and things like that, especially in the service-based industry, or if all your teams are remote. And still, if you are building a team as a founder, you are siloed in isolation frequently. Who are you going to turn to talk to?
Yeah. What was really important to me is to bring together these women from various industries and years of experience and such. We all have valuable information to share, resources and such. And so it's all of that. Yes, we want to know how to run our businesses better and the operational piece. But again, that emotion that comes in when you can connect with women, that you just get it. You're all sort of on this journey together. And then we get to go and do our work out in the world, and know that we've got women who have our back.
That's right. And boy, knowing that there's somebody on the other end of a lifeline for you who knows you, who you feel psychologically safe with, not competitive with, and who understands the best what you're going through. The thing that I love too is that you have activities. Now here in Boston, certainly we can get together for a great happy hour and whoop it up, right? But the best events that we have here, with All Raise and Silicon Valley Bank and the Capital Network and all of that, are the ones where we are connecting and growing. So we are not only having good conversations, but we are learning. And I think that's the beauty. How many days is the retreat?
That particular one was 6 days. We're going
Hmm.
again in February, March of next year, and that's going to be 1 day more, 7 days. Just because the only feedback that I got from everyone, besides like this has transformed my life, this has changed my life, was I could have used one more day. So I said, okay, we're going to add another day on. It takes a little bit to get settled, I think,
Yes,
and
of
they're flying to a
course.
completely new country,
Now,
and
what part of
and
Morocco are you in? Are you
the
in the Casablanca or the
it's Marrakesh.
Marrakesh? Yeah,
Yes, yes, yeah,
where a lot of the
Marrakesh.
movies are filmed, and it's very sacred on that side, right?
Yeah, and they do, and it's very safe too. They
Yeah,
love Americans. It's actually a really clean city.
yeah.
So I'm excited. I probably will take a group every year, just because it's already set up. And the partners that I have there, Peacock Pavilions being the hotel and Project Soar
Yeah.
being the nonprofit, we work really well together to be able to provide that experience. But I am
Mm.
planning one in September of next year to Spain. So I haven't been to Spain, so I'm very excited about that.
It's so important to get out of your environment, right? And then
Yes.
of course with a facilitator, somebody like
Mm.
you who is also a founder who knows how to take people on this journey. And so, yeah, Erica's, I mean, Rebecca has so many wonderful comments. I'm going to go ahead and float them through. Rebecca says she just learned about a new femtech product for schools run by a female founder. That's wonderful. And she agrees 100% on documenting your experience. What a great idea. And Richard O, I think that you're absolutely right. Stitch that on a pillow on this journey together for sure. And great question, Rebecca. Will it be to Morocco again in February when you're going?
Yes, it
Yes.
is to Morocco again. And as I said, Spain in September. And then we'll
Great.
go to Morocco again in 2024. And what's been really wonderful about this, what I wasn't expecting it at all, is that I have, so we have a collective of women that are, you just have to fill out a quick intake form to join. You can find that on the website. And I'm having women who are joining the collective who are saying, can you bring this Global Founders Retreat to my country? So I'm so excited because I actually been talking to founders in South Africa and Jordan, and who knows where else we'll get to go. But yeah, I was like, of course we can. That makes so much sense. And having that connection in those other countries, and having someone help me with the creation of these events is so important.
Absolutely. So let's talk about how you had to follow your own advice because, again, you had been the brand building person, the social entrepreneur and brand strategist. But now it was time to create a platform. So you had to take your own advice, come up with the right colors, come up with the name, come up with the brand experience and promise you wanted to bring people. What was that like? Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, well, since I've been doing this for 20 years, it comes pretty naturally to me. So, of course, really sitting down with yourself and thinking about, again, like what are the 4 Ps, your brand essentials? Because no matter what happens externally or internally, you always have that to go back to. And believe me, I've had setbacks in my career where I have had what Elizabeth Gilbert calls your bathroom floor moment,
Yeah.
where you have to decide, okay, I can sit here on the bathroom floor, I feel sorry for myself, or I can get up and get moving. I've had those moments, as we all have.
Yes.
And I really went back to those brand essentials during those moments and said, I know what I'm about. I know what I want to do here. And so with Élanoura, it was no different. And I went back to that and really figured out, how can I do this? How can I create something that's impactful enough so it's not just a Zoom training, right?
Right.
That it
Right.
really is getting these women out of,
Right.
because we have so many obligations that we have to manage every single day, whether you have a family or not, your business. And so I thought it was really important that they make the commitment to themselves and to their businesses to
That's
experience
right.
this.
And it has to be an all in. And this is what you did too. So you were actually walking your talk, which is
Mhm.
as you have been consulting with women and helping them step more further into their bigger picture and what they were going to be bringing to the world and even more gifts. You thought, wow, I need to step further into mine and I need to go
Yes.
global and I need to create an umbrella company that can manage all these areas that I could use to help elevate women. So I love that you came up with the Élanoura as being the umbrella under which you can still be a brand strategist. You can still go on these wonderful retreats. You can still create one-on-one opportunities to help women, and new ideas that will come, which is come to Spain, come to Johannesburg, come to, and
Right, exactly. And it's
and that,
all, again, it's the umbrella for all the solutions. So you, as long as you know what you're about, who you're doing this for, I mean,
right.
you can come up with multiple solutions and it doesn't have to be so one-dimensional.
So when I titled the show, and it was thanks,
Mhm.
you had a bunch of different titles, which is so wonderful as a guest to share some of the things you'd like to talk about. You clearly feel very strongly that the way forward for the future of business is women. Would you please just talk a little bit about that, what you mean by that, and what will that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. We touched it a little bit earlier on, how women, I think, naturally are nurturers, and we come into everything we do with sort of this sense of service. And so when we're thinking about business today, business can be, it has been in the past, aggressive, competitive, sort of winner takes all. There's
Right.
a lot of focus on sort of the self interest of the entity. But we are seeing that things are changing. It's not hard to see that. There are tons of surveys out there and data to support this, that consumers now, especially Gen Zs, they are looking for brands that they have shared values and beliefs with. And they want to spend their time and their money and participate in businesses and brands that they feel aligned with. And so it's really, really important that we figure out what that is for us. And as women, we're already a step ahead of that. We're already coming into it with sort of our natural compassion and empathy, whether that's starting a business or whether that's through leadership, as as we said, in your professional role, your executive role. So we have the opportunity right now, because this is what people are looking for, whether that's consumers or employees. What they are looking for, businesses that they believe in. And we can see that even through the cancel culture, right? So we can
That's
see when
right.
brands are being called out right now. In fact, you better speak up about this. Like, hey, this is not okay. You better speak up about this. Otherwise, you're going to
Adidas.
lose this audience. Yes. Yes, exactly. So, I think that women for so long have felt like, I am not naturally an aggressive person. How can I compete in business? And here we are now saying, like, hey, that actually people want the female qualities of business. And it's how can we bring the balance into business? Because, yes, we need the masculine side, meaning the action, of
Right.
course, but we also need this feminine piece that we have the natural ability to bring in.
That's right.
So I would hate for women to feel that they don't have the tools that they actually really do have. And you see it with, business. Mark Benioff of Salesforce, for example.
Right.
Mark Cuban has created Cost Plus Drugs, trying to bring this. And so you see these founders, Chef Jose Andres is another one. I love what he's
Yes.
doing.
The World Kitchen.
Yes. And you see these founders who are just like, okay, I have gained success through my business, but there's got to be something more. Like, what more can I do here that goes beyond just the interest of my business?
That's right.
So I would love to see more women doing that, because I'm seeing a lot of men doing it. And so I want to see women stepping up and
Yes. And this representation matters so much, especially for our femtech founders, our women who are launching really amazing tech platforms, because we have, and we saw this with Clubhouse, this bro culture that is toxic and it's misogynistic. And so I don't like seeing, as we were in the 80s when we just, went into finance and law, we wore our blue striped suits and we had our white shirts and we even wore these little bow ties around our necks. And, we wanted to emulate the men because we thought that's how business had to be done. Same thing in the startup culture is they see this dude, and that whole language. No, 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 women. Bring your entire goddess nature to your work in the world. You be you. You can still be profitable. You can still nail it on sustainability and generating revenue and impact in the world. And these men are providing, representation, but we need to see it with more women as well, because it's easy, especially a lot of these startup events where, the guys are, more prevalent than the women. You can see that tough culture, and it doesn't. We need to change that landscape. Any thoughts from you on that, Erika?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I do work with a lot of younger women, I have a lot of Gen Zers on my team, for example. They're looking to us for guidance. They
Yeah.
really know they want to start their businesses and creating the foundation for their businesses from a place of impact, value, service. And so they're looking to us. They're looking for the resources in terms of how to do this. They're looking for the role models in terms of how to do this.
Right.
Because I really do feel that we have failed women in terms of, the whole girl boss movement. We can talk about how toxic that was, but I think I think it did provide value in the sense that at least it empowered women to take that first step forward.
Right.
But it's the hustle and the fake it till you make it piece that we're kind of over, and we don't need to do that anymore. And now we can really come into our own and be authentic. I think it's also really important to be conscious of the language that we're using. A lot of business language is very masculine. So, target, strategy, execution.
Nailed it.
How can we change that? Instead of targeting, we're serving, right?
Right.
Instead of executing, we're activating.
Right.
So really being conscious and bringing in your femininity into it, so that when you're changing the language of business, you're changing the energy around it. It doesn't need to be competitive and versus and one-on-one or one versus one. That it can be about, like, how can we bring everyone together? How can we build people up?
Oh, that is so beautiful, Erika. I hope everyone can take that in, because folks, we've got this quote, hustle culture and grind culture. Both of those are no good for you. Okay. Grit, that's good. Grit is where you go, okay, I'm in a really big, tough situation. I'm going to figure out how to get through this and come up with solutions and everything. Grit is that courage. But hustle and grind means exactly like they sound. You are not going to get anywhere fast. You are a hamster on a wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And we have come to learn, thanks to the NAP ministry got us there, that it is based in white supremacy. That work till you drop. Okay. I don't need to say any more about that. It is not healthy and it's not good. And Erika, thank you for providing the example of leadership in women and to our younger generation as well, about how you can still bring forward a business into all its glory, whether it's $500,000 a year in revenue or you take it to IPO. You can do it with grace and love and purpose and vision, and you are not wrong to be that way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yay. I love that. Something fierce. Can we talk a little bit about the book that you have percolating?
Yes.
Yes, this is because I think it sounds wonderful. Make Your Mark, Make It Matter. Is that still the title of it?
Yes, it is.
Great.
Yes, I have always felt like I was meant to write a book. It's just, again, another solution, right?
Mhm.
Not everybody reads anymore, but for those of us who do, I think it's, just another way for us to get the information. I've created a 3-step process, elevate, integrate, create, in order to actually bring your value into the world. And what's wonderful about this is that when I've been doing all this one-on-one work with women, I have found, again, as I said, that we hold ourselves back. And there's a lot of lower energies that kind of keep us stuck in the self, right? It's very self-centeredness. And whether that's us feeling like we're not good enough, the self-worth pieces, or it's, the misuse of our power in terms of like resentment. And a lot of businesses kind of get stuck in that, and leaders and people get stuck in that. So the first step is elevate. We have to kind of get over ourselves in order to get to that heart-centered place of where we can bring empathy and compassion in. So I have a lot of exercises. Each of these steps, I provide a ton of exercises and tools. The second step being integrate. So again, like going back to what's really important to you and aligning with that. And I provide a lot of ways in order to do that. And lastly, create. And that piece is important. We, as I was saying earlier, like the balance between the feminine and the masculine parts of us, right? So we do need to bring the feeling, the inspiration, like what gets us going, what's going to sustain us. But then we also have to create something out of that. We can't be two in the fields and not get anything done. And we can't just be all about the hustle and grind
Right.
and never have the emotion behind it. We're going to get burnt out. And,
Yeah.
or it'll be a waste of time, a waste of energy, or it'll be irresponsible, as we've been seeing so much when we have founders who are just out there hustling and grinding, and they're not being responsible for what they're creating and the impact that they have on real people and real lives.
That's right. And so many levels. A quick hello. Hi, Sita. Thanks for coming by.
Hi, Sita. She is one of my clients. Hello. One of the clients I was talking about that I have weekly calls with. And so it's wonderful that I get to have that one-on-one connection. Esas Beauty, check them out.
Absolutely. And folks, and I know, Erika, you can speak to this too, especially through the exercises in your book. You don't need to know, right, what it is. I mean, yes, we can look at people and go, gosh, they knew. They knew, they put it together, they soared with it. How did they do that, right? You can hang out in the mystery. One of the things I did in the spring of 2019 was that I focused on how I wanted to feel, and I put it into 6 C's. So I got to always read it. It's conversation, community, celebration, contribution, and conversation, and some other C's. But anyway, that was how I wanted to feel. And I didn't know how it was going to show up. And I just knew that if I just focused on that, being able to have an impact and whatever that looked like would come eventually. And I would just be in a mystery and looking and pulling on different threads. Well, COVID, boom. This is episode, 195, 196 today.
Can we clap for you?
And never have I been so happy. I mean, just sitting down every day doing this. So folks, it can come in its own way, working with Erika and going on these retreats, those kind of moments of exploration, as long as you remove your judgment and how it's supposed to look, it's more of how it will end up providing you as a vehicle in which you can get in and have an impact. So I just love everything that you're doing and have been doing, Erika. You bring such such beauty to the world by helping folks uncover and discover the beauty within them and what they want to do and with their businesses. So I'm just so in awe and wonder of what you're doing. What does success look like for you at this point in time? We have different moments in our life of what success looks like. What is that looking like for you today?
Yes. Well, I mean, speaking on what you were just saying, sort of the look and feel of success, right? It's not just the look of it, but it really is the feel of it. And for anybody out there who's listening, I would highly recommend, I'm a big journaler, and just for yourself, creating a 2-column list. And on the left, really think about success in terms of what does that look like? Thinking your ideal day, your ideal life. Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? What have you accomplished? What does that actually look like? And then on the right, thinking about what does it feel like, right? Because that, again, like that's the inspiration that's going to continue to sustain you. And for me, when I do that for myself, because I definitely these exercises and tools that I put out in the world, I do for myself. Right now, I am loving what I'm doing. I'm loving what every day of my life looks like. And what that does, and why I want to say, like, this Global Founders Retreat is not just about us going and traveling and volunteering, but it's the energy and the feeling that you bring back home that helps you to continue to create the look of it, of what that success is. And so if you are feeling good, inspired, fulfilled, purposeful, all of a sudden, your energy that you're putting out in the world, even with a stranger or cashier, is friendly, open, just gratitude, gracious. And rather than us getting stuck in all that, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, and you're not happy and you're not fulfilled. So you'll see that how you're seeing the world, your perception, of what you're doing, and your appreciation for the people around you is going to
Yeah,
change. Your relationships are going to change, whether that's
absolutely.
personal or professional. And the solutions that you come up with, because you're going to be so much more open-minded instead of like focused on all this stuff that you got to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The to-dos are going to happen anyway. And
Yeah.
as Whitney White, everybody might remember, a couple of years ago, kept telling me, "Let it go, Andy. Let it go. It's
Yeah,
okay if you don't
exactly.
do them."
And I think for those of us who get to do what we love to do every day, that
Yes.
for me is success. And when I get to hear and see for myself and feel that I get to help women make an impact, it makes me feel impactful, and creating all those little ripple effects around the world. That is success to me. Just last weekend, I was in Sonoma. Some of the gals from our Global Founders Retreat, they had planned a weekend and got a bunch of the West Coast founders to come up to see them. And that for me felt like success. Like, oh wow, I brought all of these strangers together in Morocco, and they all wanted to get together again, and they want to keep connected.
See, it's that ripple
So
effect. And as a
yeah.
designer, you began your career as a designer. This is a canvas that you've added. You've provided the materials, you provided the medium and everything that folks need to create a beautiful image, and brought your own design sensibility to the equation with your ideas and ways for folks to tap into that. But watching them create like this,
I
I can
know.
only
It's just,
imagine that is so fulfilling. I'm so happy for you, and thank you for representing that. Because folks, this is how Erika is doing it. You'll have your way, and you're probably doing it right now, and it's your way. The way of you're going to vibe with the world. And I'm Andy Licious. That's how I'm doing it, right? And we have all of our different ways. And this is the beauty of this exercise that you have here, which is understanding your brand type, your personality is, all of these are good. These are
mm,
wonderful. The world needs every one of these. It's just important for you to decide at this time in your life, wherever that might be, what lane you're following in. So, who has added wind to your sails? Because people like to say, "Oh, I did it all myself." No, nobody ever does it themselves. Who would you like to just give a high five to that's helped you along the way, that meant the world to you?
I was just thinking about this actually when I was in Sonoma with all those women, because we were talking about this exact question. And we, at different phases in our lives, I think we have women that come in, or people that come in,
Yeah.
and obviously childhood, it's different than what that looks like in your early adult years. Some of the women on here today, for example, one of the ladies from Junior League, I was involved with Junior League, and having that group of women kind of support you and push you to try new things was huge for me, because I had never done any public speaking. I had never led workshops until I was a part of that organization. I sat on the board twice. That having those women sort of, and they're still so supportive. Look, they're on here today. Like, how wonderful is that?
So
I
good.
also am so inspired by the clients that I get to work with, just like Seda, who's on here. Being able to see how I can help them, how I can help them grow, seeing the blood, sweat, and tears that they're putting into their businesses.
Right.
But ironically, I also think about the mean girls in my life. So I've come across a lot of mean girls, whether that was in high school or college or after college, or even now we come across it. And the impact that they had on me, because when it's happening to you, you're very confused about it. You're like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like, I didn't even think anybody knew my name. Like, why do they care what I'm doing? But what it did for me is, I really think it informed how much I wanted women to get over themselves, or get over that,
Yes.
and
Yes.
really
Yes.
see that there's so much more out there. And that is just going to not only hold you back, but it's going to hold everybody else back. So I think about those women, and I hope they're all doing well and thriving now. But it did. I wasn't conscious of it, but I think it really did push me in a direction where I wanted to help
Absolutely.
empower them
Yeah,
to get
I
past
was
that.
bullied for 3+ years as a kid, which gave me a deep appreciation for being other. So, and I can relate to anybody who's on the outskirts as a result. What a gift, right? My empathy is so deep. Folks, you know what it's like when the mean girls have been out there, but I also have a deep understanding of why the mean girls are there, because women, you know, we just got the vote 100 plus years ago, maybe. We couldn't get a credit card until 40 years ago in our name, or hold assets and increase wealth in our lives. We didn't have any shelters we could go to until the late 70s. Okay. Women have had to fight each other to be protected by the male. And as a result, that's how suppression happens. Don't let the women get along, because then they're going to rise up. Okay. So a lot of that has been indoctrinated in us. And the work you're doing, Erika, is to continue the healing of that. We're not here to compare our beauties and our ability to cook well and care for our children. We're here to be fully expressed individuals in the world and to love each other through whatever we're all going through. And you're doing a beautiful job with that, Erika.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I mean, I hope that we just remind everyone, you know, here today to tap into, again, like, what is the deeper, what do you want to do? Like, at the end of the day, like, how can you live your best life? How can you build your best life? And how can you build the best version of your business and yourself?
Right. And so as you look back over the last 20 years and you're saying, wow, I've been an entrepreneur now for quite some time. And I've witnessed other folks become entrepreneurs and founders. You know, how has this work served you both personally and professionally?
Yeah, I mean, as a founder, you know, your life is your work and your work is your life, right? And they're just integrated. And so, yes. And so, how wonderful when you can do something that you love. And so, for me, when I think about the personal and professional piece, I really think about my daughter in terms of how am I modeling for her a life to lead through this founder journey that I've been on for so long, because I'm
Right.
not the 9 to 5er, you know, and I'm not the stay-at-home mom necessarily. And I think she sees me loving what I do, loving all my clients, just getting to do all these wonderful experiences. She sees me happy, as I said, like, the way that I'm in the world, and with kindness and empathy as much as I can, you know, and the self-reflection piece. And so I look to her and just think, wow, like, that is incredible that I'm able to model that side for her. And it's not necessarily, right, what were the things we're checking off the lists that we moms can get so into, and all the stuff that we got going on. But how fulfilled are we? How happy are we? Um, and integrating that, like, personally and professionally, because they are the same. When you're
They,
a founder, they're the same.
and anyone who knows me well here knows that we have a stitch that on a pillow moment here, folks. Your work is your life and your life is your work. I love that so much. I can see that on the pillow on the couch
Yeah.
right there. Oh, that's wonderful. So let everybody know again how they can find you, how they can work with you, and everything that you're doing. And then I'll pop you in the green room and wrap up the show.
Oh, yes. Thank you. So, Élanoura.com, as I said, and you can find us everywhere on social at Élanoura Global. But for those of you who are even founders to be, women founders to be, right? Currently, we are serving women and those who identify as women. Come and join us. You know, we have an easy intake form that you can fill out. We are going to be rolling out other initiatives as well. So right now we're starting with the Global Founders Retreat, but we are going to you're going to be creating a member directory where we can share resources, mentor matching. That's all happening. We have other locations for these Global Founder Retreats. And I think it's really important to point out that we are a curated collective of women founders. So I really do go and we look at everybody who applies. We want to make sure, of course, that we maintain a certain level of quality. It's not so much like, oh, how much money are you making? But it's like, where are you coming from? What is the
Right.
intention that you're bringing into what you're doing? So it can't just be about you. and the service of your entity.
Yeah, there's a
Like,
lot to be said for that. And with all due respect, it's not about judging, it's just being in alignment with who you want to gather and who you want to be working with.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So that's kind of what we're all about. And then, we can meet in person. We can meet online. So come join us. And even if you're not a founder, we would love your support anyway, just so that we can continue to inspire women founders, inspire founders to
Absolutely.
build
Or if maybe down the road you become a founder, this is a great way to take time out in life and think about the impact you want to have. And maybe it's because you're going to onboard as the executive director of a foundation or something else, but you'll be clear about that for yourself. And
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
beauty.
Mhm.
Oh, Erika, I am so grateful that you joined me for this delicious conversation. I love everything you're doing in the world, and I love the representation you bring. And I just love just your vibration on your love of women and your love of empowering women to be all that they can be. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, great. I'm just going to wrap up real quickly. Folks, I don't know about you, but I am so inspired again for the sisterhood, right? For how we can move our businesses forward, being fully expressed as women, and whether you identify or however that looks, and that we can be our own special, unique beings. I feel so strongly about that. Let me share who's coming up this Friday on the Startup Life Live Show. We're talking about how to build a successful portrait photography business. And we're chatting with Kevin Ty. He's local here in Boston. And Kevin learned he was having a son, right? At the same time, he learned that he was being laid off from his job. And that was right at the beginning of the pandemic. And we're going to hear how he immediately turned to the business of headshot photography. And of course, classic headshots never go out of style, which makes professional headshot photography a stable, profitable niche, especially for a new dad. And we're going to learn how he built his social capital on LinkedIn, focusing on Boston's thriving startup community. And soon his photography business was soaring with referral-based business. You're going to want to hear this story. It's amazing. And how do you know whenever I post a new show on the Startup Life Live Show, you join the Startup Life Live meetup group. And that way you'll learn every time I have a new guest, which is twice a week. We're going to be celebrating the 200th episode real soon. I'll keep you posted on that. Until next time, please know that I am cheering you on, celebrating you in your work. And I truly believe that you've got this. You've got the ability inside of you to figure it out. Just remember to ask. Ask for help, ask for introductions, ask. Until next time, I'm wishing you a delicious day everywhere you glow. I got to blow the kiss. Mwah. And cue video.